Stop for a second. This is Ardie Savea, World Player of the Year, the undisputed best loose forward on the planet. He runs through tackles like they're made of paper. Now imagine this. Every thunderous collision, every impossible offload, he's doing it with his left eye, everything in his vision blurred. For years, while smashing records in professional rugby, Ardie was secretly battling a steadily deteriorating condition that left him with near blindness in that eye. He kept it hidden, figuring he could just will his way through the most brutal sport in the world. But in 2019, on the eve of the Rugby World Cup, that secret became a terrifying reality when his doctor presented him with a non-negotiable choice: start protecting his sight now or risk losing his vision completely. This is the unheard, emotional, true story of how Ardie Savea faced the one thing he couldn't run through: blindness, and somehow in doing so became the greatest player of his generation. Stick around, because the most shocking part of this journey isn't what he lost, but how much more he had to see to achieve the impossible. Ardie Savea was born on October 14th, 1993 in Wellington, New Zealand, carrying two things that would define his entire life: a name that demanded greatness and a physical condition that should have made greatness impossible. But there was a problem nobody talked about. Ardie had amblyopia, a lazy eye. In rugby terms, that's catastrophic. We're talking about a sport where you need to track a ball travelling at 60 miles per hour, judge depth perception when a 250-pound forward is charging at you, and make split-second spatial decisions that determine whether you score or get absolutely destroyed. And Ardie was trying to do all of this with compromised vision in one eye. Then things got real. His older brother Julian was already tearing it up for the Hurricanes and the All Blacks, dominating on the wing and making headlines across New Zealand. Meanwhile, Ardie was at Rongotai College, not just trying to keep up, but somehow managing to become head prefect and captain of the first 15 teams simultaneously. That's the school's highest academic leadership position and the top athletic role at the same time. He was playing outside centre. His handling was clean, his vision for the game was exceptional, his speed undeniable, but underneath it all, he was compensating every single day for what his eyes couldn't give him. Ardie kept grinding. By 2012, the professional world came calling. Wellington Lions offered him a contract, and suddenly he was playing provincial rugby alongside grown men. The New Zealand Sevens program picked him up too, recognising that blistering pace and ball handling ability. In 2013, Ardie made his Super Rugby debut for the Hurricanes on a 2-year deal. He was 19, still figuring out his body, still learning to see the game from a forward's perspective. The matches were tough. Defenders who once seemed confused by his footwork had now figured him out, getting rougher and rougher, bullying him at the breakdown. The whispers started almost immediately, only here because of his last name. But then something remarkable happened. Later that year, All Blacks coach Steve Hansen made an unprecedented decision. He named Ardie Savea as the first ever non-playing apprentice to travel with the All Blacks squad to Europe in November 2013. This had never been done before, setting a new precedent for introducing young talent to the team culture. While his brother Julian was playing tests, Ardie was watching from the sidelines, carrying bags, learning the culture, absorbing the standards. Hansen saw something nobody else did. He saw a generational talent who just needed time to cook. The next 2 years were invisible years. 2014, 2015, Ardie was playing, improving, but not making headlines. He was in the gym obsessively, adding the muscle mass he needed for the forward pack while desperately trying to maintain the speed that made him unique. Training sessions where bigger, stronger players outmuscled him. Moments of genuine doubt where he questioned if the positional switch was a massive mistake. But quietly, something incredible was happening. That combination, backline skills plus forward brutality, was creating a player profile rugby had never seen before. The offloads, the footwork in tight spaces, the ability to spot gaps like a centre while having the power to break tackles like a number 8. By early 2016, opposing teams were starting to have a problem they couldn't solve. The 2016 Hurricanes went on an absolute rampage. Ardie, now fully adapted to his position, was everywhere, making dominant tackles, securing turnovers, carrying with purpose. When they won the Super Rugby title, he wasn't just a contributor, he was indispensable. The blueprint was complete. Then came 2019 and everything fell apart. The Rugby World Cup in Japan. Ardie was playing at an extraordinary level, one of the All Blacks' most consistent performers. They were favourites to win the whole thing. Then came the semi-final against England on Saturday, October 26, 2019, and New Zealand got absolutely dismantled, losing 19-7. But for Ardie, the loss was only the beginning of the nightmare. During the match, he suffered a severe knee injury that required surgery. As the All Blacks trudged off the field in shock, Ardie was already facing a different kind of battle, one that would nearly break him. Estimated 5 to 6 months recovery. For a man whose entire identity was built on movement, being forced to be still was torture. He started posting on TikTok dance videos on his injured knee that made his medical staff furious. Ardie became an outspoken mental health advocate, using his ASICS partnership to share his story transparently. The injury that nearly ended him became the platform that defined his leadership. 2021 brought new responsibility. The Hurricanes named him captain, recognizing not just his ability, but his growth through adversity. April 2021. In a Sky Super Rugby Aotearoa match against the Crusaders on Sunday, April 11th, 2021, Ardie suffered a major MCL injury early in the second half. But here's where you see the character. He soldiered on for another 20 minutes before finally being subbed off. This injury forced him to miss the remainder of the Super Rugby Aotearoa season, but 2021 also brought ultimate validation. Ardie was named the 70th All Blacks Test captain, leading the side against Australia in Perth. Then came the truly special moment, captaining the historic 100th Test against the Springboks in Townsville. The kid who once carried bags as a non-playing apprentice was now leading the All Blacks. 2022 brought controversy. After a match, Ardie made a throat-slitting gesture that drew immediate public criticism. In the post-match interview, he immediately apologized, acknowledged the distress caused to fans, and stated unequivocally that it should not have happened. No deflection, no excuses. The maturity that had been forged through injury and setback was now on full display. Then came 2023, and Ardie Savea put together one of the most dominant individual seasons in rugby history. He started 11 of New Zealand's 12 Test matches in 2023. But there was one performance that stood above everything else. October 2023, Rugby World Cup quarter-final. All Blacks versus Ireland, the world #1 ranked team at the Stade de France. Final score, 28-24 to New Zealand. Ardie Savea was at the heart of everything. He scored a vital first-half try, powering through Irish defenders. And then came the moment that defined not just the match, but his entire career. Final minutes. All Blacks down to 14 men after a yellow card. Ireland unleashed a sustained, brutal attack. 37 phases of unrelenting pressure, wave after wave, crashing against the New Zealand defence. But Ardie, exhausted beyond measure, refused to break. Every tackle, every clean-out, every desperate scramble, he was there. When the final whistle blew, he collapsed. Ireland was stunned. He was named player of the match. Days later, the All Blacks lost the final to South Africa in heartbreaking fashion. But just hours after that defeat, on Sunday, October 29th, 2023, Ardie Savea was crowned World Rugby Men's 15 Player of the Year at the awards ceremony in Paris. In his acceptance speech, he stayed true to who he'd become. Very blessed and grateful, he said, before immediately crediting the team. For an individual to stand out, it's based on the foundation of the team. He gave a massive shout out to the coaching staff and teammates. The kid with one good eye, the one they said wasn't physical enough, the one living in his brother's shadow. He was now officially the best player in World Rugby. Following the World Cup, Ardie took a playing sabbatical to Japan, playing for the Kobelco Kobe Steelers during the 2023 to 2024 Japan Rugby League 1 season. Time to recover, to experience a different rugby culture, to recharge before what would come next. When he returned to Super Rugby in 2025, he made a choice that surprised many. Instead of returning to the Hurricanes, the team where he'd spent over a decade, 11 seasons, he joined Moana Pasifika. Ardie immediately transformed Moana Pasifika, leading them to their most successful campaign in franchise history. Analysts noted that when a player of his caliber joins a developing side, everyone tries to match his standards. He was playing with nothing to lose, which somehow made him even more dangerous. The results spoke for themselves. In the 2025, Ardie Savea was crowned the inaugural 2025 Super Rugby Pacific Player of the Year. How did a half-blind underdog become the best rugby player on earth? Ardie Savea succeeded because he turned every disadvantage into a weapon. Amblyopia forced him to play by instinct, while shifting from centre to loose forward created a freak athlete. He didn't just overcome injuries and criticism, he used them to build the resilience needed to captain the All Blacks. Savea proved you don't need perfect sight to see greatness. He rose from Julian's little brother at Rongotai College to the World Player of the Year. Now he's the proof for every kid with an impossible dream. If Ardie did it, you can too. Now, if you enjoyed this story, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers this year, so please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate the support, and I know we can do it together. Trust me, we've got more incredible stories coming your way.